757 Crime Story presents What Happened to Aviana. 20-year-old Aviana Corsino was ready to live an amazing life. Set to go to aviation school in 2 weeks, Aviana wanted nothing more than to become a pilot. But unfortunately, this story gets even more twisted. What if I told you that the night of May 13th, 2023, when Aviana was drugged and she overdosed off alcohol, wasn't the first time that happened to her? What if I told you she was around Rome Toro when it happened? Aviana talked to her grandmother every day and was very close with her, and she confided in her grandmother some things that you may find interesting. Now keep in mind, Aviana did not play about her future career as a pilot, so she didn't play with drugs. So how did Aviana get in this situation twice?
Yeah. But no, I think I suspected because I told her, I said, I hope you wasn't over at the wrong house.
And she was.
And it was near him. And she was, because she said she didn't know how she got home. But she knew.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, she said she didn't know how she got home, but what?
She knows that her clothes wasn't right.
Oh my gosh.
So it really bothered her, and that's when she started backtracking. And I think somebody did something to her. She figured it out, and she said that he promised her he didn't do nothing to her. I told her I didn't believe it.
Wow. And I believe it because, ever since me and Nicole been putting her story out there and everything, now that she made this part one of Avi's documentary, Rome been making fake pages, multiple fake pages, and she's trying to paint this picture that Avi was hooked on drugs because of
She wasn't on drugs. If she was on drugs, it would showed up in the top screen.
So we know that Avi didn't do drugs. So why is it the first time she encountered with Rome, she doesn't remember what happened and her clothes is disheveled? I mean, Aviana didn't even know how she got home. Aviana told her grandmother that she even asked Rome, "Hey, did you do something to me?" He tells her no and says, "Hey, I just took you home." But Avi distinctly remembered and told her grandmother that her clothes were not right, and that bothered her a lot.
Avi was more than my sister. She was like my best friend. And no matter what we went through, no matter how many fights we had, sisters fight. But no matter what, or no matter how mad we got at each other, we'd always make up and laugh about it later. Even after our last fight we made up and we joke about that sometimes. She had a big heart, and she loved her family so much. No matter what choices she made, she didn't deserve to lose her life this way and so soon. She was determined to go to school and become a pilot, and she had just gotten accepted into aviation school where they test you for drugs. She was never hooked on any drugs. She only liked to drink sometimes when she was sad, which doesn't make her a bad person because she liked to drink sometimes. And months before she died, she was excited and telling everyone she was studying hard for school. And she was very, very smart. Growing up, she never made anything less than an A in school. She was a girl with big dreams, and her laughter and her kindness and her dreams will never be forgotten. And she does deserve justice.
Now here's Rome friend King Thompson. How King Thompson got in the picture is Well, he was Rome's friend. So when he was in town because he worked abroad, he would stop by, hang out with his friend. Avi and her sister Sin had an altercation, whom at the time was dating Rome, due to the fact that Rome was stirring some drama between these girls. And because of that triangulation that Romeo Toro had between Aviana and Sin, it ultimately resulted in Aviana and Sin getting into a physical altercation where Aviana was seriously hurt and law enforcement getting involved. Romeo Toro took advantage of the altercation that Sin and Avi was having and decided to have a secret friendship with Avi with business transactions and secret text messages that he would delete so Sin wouldn't find out. But little did Rome know, Sin was trying to get away from him. And she wanted her sister Avi away from him too, because she knew Rome had done things that was unimaginable and that Avi was in danger. The altercation between Aviana and her sister Sin led to Sin being arrested and sitting in jail for a while. And while Sin was incarcerated, Romeo Toro took full advantage of that situation. With Rome promises of getting Aviana's car fixed and helping Aviana get Sin out of jail, he lured Aviana into his dark web. And this is where Aviana met King Thompson. With King having a background in law enforcement, he made promises that he can help get Sin out of jail. And around this time, Avi had already met Kayla, who was introduced as Rome's friend. She seems to watch the girls that Rome bring around. So how did Kayla end up, how did you start to realize that Kayla and Rome, those two were kind of doing things together and that they were not really good people?
After it was a situation where me, Kayla, and Rome had went to Miami a month after I met Rome, because Kayla had invited me to go with them, and something happened there where I couldn't really remember what happened. I woke up in the middle of the night in the Airbnb, and I didn't know what happened, but I seen Kayla was on the couch, like half naked. And then when we got back to Virginia, his baby mom, I got in contact with his baby mom. Me and her had a conversation, and she was telling me, don't trust Kayla. She's like, I promise you, when y'all went to Miami, Kayla and Ron was doing stuff while you was asleep behind your back. She can't be trusted. They've done stuff together before. And I'm like, what? Like, no way. Like, they're just friends. And she's like, no, they're not just friends. And then she shows me on FaceTime proof video of not King, Rome and Kayla doing things together. And so when I went to Kayla about it and Rome, it was like, that it happened long ago. They've been friends for years. It was a one time thing, but then it turned out that it wasn't a one time thing because it's been for years type thing.
Tying this all together, King, with a background in law enforcement, he and Rome told Aviana that King could possibly help Sin get out of jail. King, while Aviana was just 19 years old and he was in his mid-30s, developed a relationship with Aviana, taking her to South Carolina and having lots of rendezvous with her. But unfortunately, Aviana found out that King was having sex with Kayla. See, Kayla not only liked to watch, but sometimes Kayla liked to join in. And Rome afforded Kayla a comfortable lifestyle as long as she did whatever he said. And when you lived with him, you remember his camera footage going, is it true that he starts it at 9 p.m.?
No. So he has two camera systems. He has cameras inside the house and outside the house. Mm. He has the link camera system on his phone, and then he has a camera system on a monitor in his bedroom. And they both run all day long.
Okay.
Morning and night, yeah.
So the night of May 13, 2023, it would be safe to say that it's not true that what
Definitely
he
not
said
true.
that his cameras come on at 9, it starts at 9 p.m.
No, he's
Safe
lying.
to say that's not true?
Yes, he's lying.
Is it true that King had access to his cameras?
Yep. And I asked King, because after the incident happened where Avi passed from being at Rome's house, I asked King was sending me video footage of that night. He's like, "Oh, give me evidence," because he so-called was calling himself helping me and my sister Bree get Rome convicted, charged with something. Um, so he was sending me videos, and I'm like, so how do you have this? How do you have his cameras system? Like, how do you have the videos? He's like, oh, Rome gave me his camera system while he was in prison for me to watch the house.
Mm. Did Rome agree to what he said, that he gave him his camera information?
I didn't ask him, but I just know he had the videos, and King FaceTime me and screen recorded and went to the Blink camera system and was showing me, you know, um, videos of a bunch of different girls showing up at Rome's house throughout different days. Like on one day, he'll have like 5 different young girls pull up, and they will all come in for a short amount of time then leave. It's like, yeah, like Rome's been doing this with a bunch of girls for a long time. Even while he was with you, like you'll think he's going to work and he'll go do something with another girl. You'll think he's going to the store and he'll go do something with a girl. Like, so he's showing me this on the camera, and I'm like, okay, so how the camera?
His homeboy.
Yeah, and he's showing me videos of Rome doing stuff with girls in the house, and it was a girl. Um, I'm not going to say her name, but at the time she was 18 years old, and I seen that after my sister passed, she was like stalking my page kind of. And I remember King mentioning her name to me, one of the girls that Rome was dealing with. So I'm like, is this her? And he's like, yeah, tell her to go get tested because she was just sleeping with Rome last week.
Now, King Thompson had his own accusations outside of Rome of women accusing him of drugging and raping them. King Thompson would also take it a step further and stalk his victims. King Thompson had this aura about him that because he was in law enforcement previously, that he was above the law. He felt like he can do whatever he want, and he had friends in high places, and that he could not get in trouble. Which leads to May 13th, 2023. Now, we've already went over the fact that Aviana did not deal with drugs because she was on her way to aviation school. She simply called around some friends to see if she can have drinks because her and her boyfriend were at odds. But her boyfriend confirms, before Aviana got in that Uber, Aviana was not drinking. May 13, 2023, Aviana arrives at Rome House around 6 p.m. Now, Romeo claims that Aviana came there already intoxicated to the point where she had no mobility. But as you can clearly see in this picture, at 6:31 p.m., she's standing up on her phone with total mobility. Now, according to Aviana's toxicology report, it said her blood alcohol level was a 0.27, and we all know that that's dangerously high. But one of the things that I want to point out, it affects severe impairment of motor skills. Walking, standing, and coordination can become extremely difficult or impossible. And that's one of the many things listed here that can impair you with a blood alcohol level that high. So if Aviana arrived at Rome's house with the blood alcohol level that high, how in the world could she be sitting here at 6:54 p.m. with perfect posture? Now, this was at 6:54 p.m. on May 13th. We can see that Aviana is fully alert. She is sitting upright. She has her feet balanced on the bar of the chair. We also can see here at 6:30 p.m. on the same night of May 13th, 2023, Aviana is standing up, actually walking. Totally inconsistent with someone who would have a blood alcohol level of a 0.27. And notice who the message came from. King Thompson. At 7:39 p.m., we see Aviana here crawling around on her floor where Rome alleges that she's looking for a nose ring. But this video is where Aviana is actually losing her life. And Rome not getting her help, he instead pulls out his phone with an erect penis and decides to record her. Now, it's obvious that Aviana had drinks at Rome's house, which makes him legally responsible for her involuntary manslaughter. Why? Because if prosecutors can prove he acted with criminal negligence, such as supplying excessive alcohol, ignoring signs of distress, or failing to seek medical help, he could face involuntary manslaughter charges. Now, as you can clearly see here in this video, not only is Rome not getting her help, he's pulling out his phone, he's recording, he's sending videos, and he's actually turned on by this woman's distress. How can a 40-plus-year-old man take advantage of a young lady in her 20s, in fact, she was 20 years old, and not get her any help?
Oh my God.
Now, as you can see here, King is texting Aviana's sister Sin, letting her know how much he loved her and the moments that they shared, because remember, I told y'all they dated. Although I find it very strange that King did not go to Aviana's funeral. He claimed he loved her so much. What's even more strange is King was able to remove the alcohol bottles outside of Rome's house the night of May 13, 2023. Wouldn't that be considered evidence, you think? And why didn't the detectives themselves take the alcohol out of the house? And why did Rome, instead of calling 911, call his friend Walt, who just so happened to be a police officer of the Hampton Police Department?
Hey, Walt, you working? Fucking friend of mine came over.
And what exactly was Rome throwing away as seen here while the ambulance was outside of his home?
He had nowhere to go. Got her here, and then he just passed out. Like he'd been drinking or something. She got put out of her house. She asked us if she can... Okay, wherever the fuck she was, she got put out of. Okay, the boyfriend came to your house. Did you say he threw her shit outside in the street? Yada, yada, yada. Okay, I don't know nothing about that. I don't know how she got to my house. We were all sitting here hanging out. She was fucking breathing. She was breathing out.
Now, King Thompson claims he left the scene to follow the ambulance and follow Avi to the hospital. And at the hospital, King just so happened to have Avi's purse and her phone. Now here, to these text messages sent to King, she's asking, what are you and Rome talking about? Aviana, don't delete anything. You got to go way back. Why would you have to go way back? What are you trying to hide? Seems suspicious, doesn't it? But you can clearly see here King stating that Rome killed Aviana, someone he cared about. When this situation first happened, it seems as if King was being overly helpful. King, in fact, made himself the liaison, the go-to person between Sin and the detective. It was almost as if King became a cop again. He was asking for more information to forward to the detectives, names of other victims that people may have known. He was really trying to help. Until King's story just wasn't adding up. He couldn't keep up with the different lies. And Kayla simply disappeared off the face of the earth, refusing to respond to anyone after the incident.
The next question: why do you think that Rome, Kayla, and King would do something like this?
So I know they've all been friends for like many years. And like I said before, while dating Rome, I found out things about him and Kayla and things they were into. I believe that Rome and King, they have a rape fetish where they take advantage of people while they're super intoxicated or drug them so they're unable to consent. And I know Rome and King have money, so I believe that Kayla will do anything asked of her as long as she's being paid to do it. I believe that night, I believe the night, May 13th, 2023, either Rome was there alone and planned to get Ivy super drunk and drug her to take advantage of her and record her without consent, as he's done to me on multiple occasions, or all three of them plan to have an orgy with my sister if they haven't already. But things went left and they all panicked and got their story together. Also, my grandmother told me that Ivy mentioned to her before that she believes Rome did something to her, but she couldn't remember. She was drinking with him. She told my grandmother that she was tipsy and she believes she passed out. She doesn't really remember what happened. She just remembered that she was drinking and she was getting tipsy, and then she woke up and she woke up back at my mom's house. I guess Rome had took her home, and she asked Rome, did anything happen? Because her clothes were not on right. So she asked Rome, did anything happen to her? Did he do something to take advantage of her? And he told her no.
On May 13th, 2023, Aviana was rushed to the hospital where days later she would succumb to the alcohol poisoning and the fentanyl overdose. Although this would not be released until months later after Aviana's toxicology report. What happened to Aviana? What happened to her justice? Clearly, we have a witness, King Thompson, who was there, who stated that Rome killed Avi. Or was that just a cover-up for something more darker, more sinister? Aviana's death was ruled an accidental drug and alcohol overdose. Her death investigation was slight, if not non-existent. How are these three able to get away with this without even the slightest investigation? Aviana had a bright future ahead of her, and she deserves justice, and she deserves answers. If we don't start speaking up and speaking out, this can very well be a predicament for one of our own. She deserves answers. She deserves justice. Rest in peace, Aviana Corsino.